Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a magnificent castle that sat on a hill. Who lived in the castle but a shy little girl. She went by the name of Dill. Dill's mother and father were busy all day, so she didn't like to get in their way. And the castle was such a big place to explore, with a tower, dungeons and a garden galore. There was so much to see and so much to do, without an Xbox TV and computers like you. Dill spent most of her time imagining all kinds of things, like if she was a queen and her friends princesses and kings. Outside she danced in a meadow of wild flowers, which kept her content for hours and hours. Her bedroom was at the top of the tower so high, with views of the woodland, the garden and the sky. In the morning she walked down the long spiral stair and into the kitchen as her mother was there. Dill's father went hunting for days in a row and brought back rabbits, deer, pheasants and so. Because before supermarkets and food we buy today, men hunted their food like an eagle its prey. Women prepared the meat for their tea, not bought from the butchers like you and me. Dill hurried along to greet her mother, who was busy that morning like any other. "Hello, Dill," she smiled, "it's a nice day. After your breakfast, go outside and play." So Dill ate in the kitchen a quick bite to eat and hurried away with a spring to her feet. Dill skipped from the kitchen and headed outside, and then she decided to stay in and hide. Dill hid in the dungeons that were cold, dark and damp, lit up a candle as no electric for a light bulb and lamp. Dill went to the great hall where, when winter came to, they would light up a big fire to warm them all through. The fireplace was so large that Dill could easily stand and fully stretch out her arms, legs and hands. Dill suddenly stopped as she heard a strange rustling noise. Unsure what it was, she stuck in her poise. There she heard it again from the same place, so she braved it and moved a bit closer with haste. Her heart beating faster and faster as closer she went, until Dill froze, standing rigidly still in total repent. Dill had been warned not to play inside there, and all of a sudden she filled up with fear. Nearly out of her skin, she jumped up in surprise. Out from the darkness were staring back eyes. For what she discovered in the soot and haze was some kind of creature with a googly gaze. "Hello," said the creature in a quiet, timid way. Dill said nothing, of course. What could she say? A strange thing that talked, she thought in her head. She felt scared and confused, and then it said, "Please be a bit braver," it continued to speak. "Hi, I'm Ashes, a dragon, not a complete freak." Dill was in shock. Never had she seen a talking dragon that is small and not mean. "I thought dragons were big and fearsome," Dill muttered. "Well, do I look like that?" Ashes in return uttered. In fact, there was nothing scary about him at all, and Dill was not nearly so scared, as he really was small. "Why are you here?" Dill asked as she comfortably sat, and down climbed the dragon to sit on her lap. "I live here, but supposed to be asleep in the day, supposedly nocturnal, so you could say." Dill was intrigued. "Why are you awake at this time?" "Don't know," shrugged Ashes, "but it suits me just fine. While the other dragons sleep, there's so much to see, but then I get bored with nobody but me." "There are other dragons as well?" asked Dill. "Like you?" "Yes," chuckled the dragon. "Yes, quite a few." Dill had so many questions that she asked and she asked about the dragon and where he had been in the past. Ashes told his story about how he was discovered, hatched under a chicken, and there he was mothered, until the other chicks thought he should endeavour to cluck, peck, and at least grow a feather. So Ashes left to find others that were more like him, but for quite a while life was lonely and grim, until he found the magnificent castle that sat on the hill, and found other dragons, and now he's found Dill. Dill was so happy that now she had a friend. Neither Ashes nor Dill wanted the moment to end. The following morning, at the first sign of light, Dill jumped out of her bed in her gown of all white. She hurriedly rushed to comb her long hair and picked up her dress she had chosen to wear. All Dill could think of before going to sleep was finding her friends and play hide and seek. She dressed and rushed down the long spiral stairs, ran into the kitchen, clattering chairs. "Slow down," said her mother. "What's the big hurry?" "Nothing," smiled Dill. "No need to worry." Dill hurried her breakfast so she could go out to play. She ran from the kitchen, knocking pots on her way. To the great hall with no time to waste, straight to the gigantically huge fireplace. "Ashes," Dill called. "Hello, are you there?" But there was no answer. He did not appear. I wonder where he could be. Where else can I look? Let me see." Dill searched everywhere she would usually hide, and a few other places beside. Feeling deflated and rather unstable, Dill went back to the hall to sit at the table. With a big sigh and about to give in, appeared the dragon, chuckling, "Ha ha, I win." Dill looked at Ashes and felt a bit cross, not because of the game that she'd lost, but the dragon had teased her in a menacing way, watched her frantically searching and wasting their day. Ashes looked at Dill to ask her a question. What to do now? Do you have a suggestion? Both made a decision, they just wanted to chatter. That's what friends do, right, if something's the matter? Dill explained how she longed for a friend. When she couldn't find Ashes, it was hard to pretend. So Dill felt that after all, that she had to be shriven. Then Ashes said sorry, and all was forgiven. Over the days, their friendship grew, talking and playing just as friends do, sharing their stories to one another. Dill told of her move with her father and mother. She told of her village, which got defeated by some very bad people who battled and cheated, took over their homes, their money and all, left with nothing, and Dill was then only so small. So then a good man, Lord Quantrell, came to their aid, gave them shelter so they were no longer afraid. Dill and her family were grateful that day, even more so as they had not a penny to pay. But Lord Quantrell knew that the family had pride, so he said that there were a few rules to abide, that they worked and looked after his castle so grand, also the gardens, the animals and the woodland. As often Lord Quantrell spent much time far away, the castle was safe and they had somewhere to stay. Dill talked of the banquets when Lord Quantrell would return, the great hall filled with feasts and the fire would burn. Ashes wished he could be a human like Dill, be part of the castle and its goodwill. But both of them knew what exactly would happen and the ill fate that would come of that dragon. Adults would see Ashes and not understand, as dragons to them brought fear to their land. Then it was decided, though very dishonest, to keep their friendship a secret, and they both promised. The summer passed quickly, and its long shining light Lord Quantrell set to return with his men and gallant knight. The castle was busy with no time to spare, food, firewood and lots more to prepare. Dill had to help too, and the days just went by. She hadn't seen Ashes and hoped he'd understand why. It wasn't long after the work had been completed that Lord Quantrell and his men arrived to be greeted. The great hall was vibrant, they laid down their armoury, happy of their safe return, of the peace and harmony. Laughter and stories of brave quests arose. Dill intently listened, but did not impose. She was just wondering where her friend had hidden, as his appearance in here would be forbidden. As the gauntlets of drink flowed and the speech became slurred, stories exaggerated and talk of dragons emerged. How knights had braved their fearsome bellowing fire, how the dragons raged towering over them far higher. Now it was at this point Dill let out the tiniest laugh. She imagined it was Ashes that had crossed their path. Only a knight had seen these big dragons so horrific, and fought them alone, which made them so terrific. Well, it makes you wonder with the stories so tall, are there really any huge, scary, fierce dragons at all? In Dill's mind, these thoughts were swirling around, so she hadn't yet noticed the great hall's lack of sound. She chuckled once more and then came to realise the silence around and the all-staring eyes. "My story makes you laugh?" the knight sternly asked. "Do you think my battle is some kind of farce?" "Oh my goodness, it really isn't the right thing to do, to upset a knight, let me tell you. Knights are heroes and tread with the topmost respect. It is said to offend one is to risk your own head." Well, this wiped the smile clean off Dill's face. Who was to save her and be her saving grace? As everyone waited in much bated breath, and Dill thinking she'd now diced with death, came a very loud creak from the large wooden door, and a very large shadow cast across the stone floor. The silence was broken as everyone gasped aloud. Can you guess what it was that the shadow enshrouded? "It's a dragon!" shrieked the knight and leapt to his feet, and everyone thought the knight was there to defeat. Well, just then, the very strangest of things did occur. The knight ran the opposite way, which was rather obscure. So how was it that this knight, brave and bold, who had fought off dragons from the stories he told, had now fled the castle in the other direction and had left everyone else to seek their own protection? Dill had now realised exactly what had happened, so she advanced to the almighty shadow so blackened. "No, no, Dill," her family cried out, but to Dill there just wasn't a doubt. As the shadow grew smaller, there were sighs of relief, and as ashes appeared, there were gasps of disbelief. And then after that, there were almighty roars of hysterical laughter, then a round of applause. It turns out that no one had ever seen a dragon before, and never a dragon that was ever so small. In the stories, dragons put up a monstrous fight that made mere men become a brave knight. Well, as this story draws to its end, as Ashes has now found many a friend, can you decide what the moral of the story could be? Maybe not to judge with your ears and with what you see. That all kinds of friendships can be found and bonds can be struck. Embrace all friendships and treasure your luck. The end.